A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalatu wassalam ala Rasulullah. Welcome, brothers and sisters, to another night of book review with Embrace, specifically the Houston chapter. And I wanted to invite us all to review a new book. It's called Servants of Allah, African Muslims Enslaved in the Americas, the 15th edition, written by Sylviane A.Diouf. So this particular book, I don't know if you all can see that or not, but this book is a review of early Africans that were displaced in the Americas. These are part of the African diaspora, otherwise known as the African slave trade, mid-Atlantic slave trade. And it examines the early Muslims that were kidnapped and brought to the Americas at the beginning of this country that known as America, United States of America. And so I thought this book would be interesting and important for us to examine for a number of reasons. Number one, it shows that Islam is as old as this country itself. That that Muslims have always been present in this country and have contributed to the foundation of this country, and that this is not a foreign religion. It also highlights the struggles, the trials, and as I mentioned, the contributions of those early Muslims and how they compare to other captives or Africans who were forced into slavery and their experience. I think this is important because in order to understand where Islam is today in this country, we have to look at how Islam started in this country and the legacy that continues to this day. So this book, Servants of Allah, really goes deep into that topic. It has some very, I would say, eye-opening accounts of the early Muslims brought to this country. It talks about their treatment, some of the trials that they encountered, some of the survival techniques that they used to stay alive while maintaining their faith. And it also discusses, some of the early manuscripts and some of the early writings of the Muslims who were in captivity at this time. Some of these manuscripts are displayed in the book. I'm sorry, it's not a very good lighting, but it even offers some pictures of the early captives. Some of them we may be familiar with already. Some may be brand new to us. That is a famous Muslim who was brought over from Senegal by the name of Omar ibn Said from Senegal. And so anyway, there's a lot to cover. There's a lot to learn from this book. So before we jump into the book, I wanted to talk a little bit about the author of this book. Her name is Sylviane A.Diouf. She's an award-winning historian who studies the African diaspora. She's also a curator, which is a person that preserves historical relics and writings. She's a visiting scholar at the Center of Study of Slavery and Justice at Brown University and a member of the scientific community of the International Coalition of Sites of Conscience in Senegal, which is part of the project of Gorée Island, Senegal. I had the pleasure of visiting Senegal, and I went to Gorée Island, which is the port where many slaves were actually shipped out of West Africa, out of a place called Gorée Island. If you're not familiar with it, I would highly recommend that you look into Gorée Island, and it's Goree Island in Senegal. There's a lot of history there. Dr. A.Diouf spent a lot of time focusing on uncovering essential stories and topics that were traditionally overlooked or neglected intentionally. And she also tries to provide new insights into the African diaspora. She has a specific interest in the experience of Africans deported to the Atlantic and Indian Ocean worlds. She's author of several books, one of which is Slavery, Exiles, The Story of American Maroons. The second book, Servants of Allah, African Muslims Enslaved in the Americas, which is a book that we'll be focusing on. And among several others. She's written about 6 or 7 different books, all focusing on the African slave trade and African experience in America. She was the keynote speaker in 2015, addressing the United Nations General Assembly on the International Day of Remembrance of the Victims of Slavery and the Transatlantic Slave Trade on the topic of women and slavery. She's also a recipient of the Rosa Parks Award, the Dr. Betty Shabazz Achievement Award, and the Pen and Brush Achievement Award. She was the founding director of the Lapidus Center for the Historical Analysis of Transatlantic Slavery at the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture of the New York Public Library. She's the daughter of a Senegalese father and a French mother. And Ms. A.Diouf was born and grew up in France. She also lived in Senegal and Italy and currently resides in New York. So I just wanted to kind of give some background information on Ms. Sylviane Anna A.Diouf, the author of this book, and kind of introduce the topic itself of, Muslims brought over to the States, now the States, United States of America, and, just talk a little bit about what we will learn, inshallah, and what we will cover in the reading of this book. I would like to add that our dear sister Rashida has graciously accepted an invitation to help me in the review of this book. So inshallah, I will be sharing this review as we journey forward over these next few weeks. The book does have 6 chapters, but the chapters are rather long. So we may end up dividing the chapters in half. So it could end up being about a 2-month reading. I would say at least 12 to 14 weeks, 2 to 3 months reading, actually. So with that, I'll basically wrap up the summary, and we can, I guess, spend a little bit of time talking about what is in the book, what we expect to learn from this book, inshallah, and kind of talk about what we would like to learn and bring forward from it. So Jazakallah khair. Thank you for tuning back in, and I look forward to studying and learning with you all. And inshallah, we will all grow together. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.